talking about Jay-Z and, listening to these guys and then coming back to working with Timbaland in your early stages. How did that feel? How did that even come about?
They had actually hit me up on the phone. They were like, "Oh yeah, Timbaland wants you to come out and work," and I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, okay, all right, I'll believe it." When I called him and told him, he was like, "Okay, all right." Yeah, and then before you knew it, we on the plane on the way there, we pull up to the studio and sit down. And he comes in, and I was just like,
"Damn, yeah." Herzlich willkommen auf Hip-Hop.de, mein Name ist Aria, wir sitzen heute hier in Köln bei den großartigen Newcomer-Duo They aus LA. Sie machen einen ganz, ganz neuen Sound. Wenn ihr das noch nicht kennt, checkt das ab. Sie machen etwas zwischen R&B, Hip-Hop, Grunge. Wir werden ein bisschen näher rausfinden, was es damit auf sich hat, wie sie die letzten Monate erlebt haben. Einer der heißesten Newcomer-Acts, die ihr auf jeden Fall auf dem Schirm haben solltet. Letztes Jahr waren sie mit Bryson Tiller in Deutschland auf Tour und dieses Jahr haben sie eine alleinige Deutschland-Tour auf die Beine gestellt. Ja. Herzlich willkommen, They. How you doing, guys?
Pretty good, man. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. How's your day going so far in Cologne?
So far, so good. We had an off day yesterday, so we got to go out and drink some German beer.
Weather's nice, can't complain. I feel like I'm in LA today. It's like 70.
Yeah, we talked off camera. I was just saying, man, for people coming from LA, it's mostly a weather shock here in Germany because it's rain and whatever, windy. But today it's really hot weather, so yeah, good luck on that one. How does it feel in general to be in Germany? I mean, you've been there, you've been here in all these clubs and everything. Last year with Bryson Tiller, you played overseas on stages, but how's that doing your own show, doing your own tour overseas?
That's tight because obviously it's cool to be able to, obviously be able to have your own tour in your own country. That's one thing, but then to be able to go overseas and still have support and still be able to do a full-length tour and still have people come out and support you in a different country, different continent, and it's pretty tight.
Yeah. What's the difference? What would you say is the biggest difference from opening up, supporting for Bryson Tiller to, coming here and playing your own show, having probably your own fan base coming here and singing your songs and all that?
I think it's just kind of a different perspective. Whenever you're an opener, you're kind of just trying to win over fans. You know what I'm saying? A few of them, knew the songs back then, but now it's like, all right, we're here to give our full experience, so like a full 60-minute, hour-long experience of what it's really like to be at a They show. So we're just excited to be able to do it on, both sides of the ocean.
Now, if we talk a little bit about what actually brought you here, the EP, New Religion, and the album afterwards. When you did the EP back a lot of months ago, would you ever think it would become that big, or what was the perspective? Because obviously the sound that you're doing is a little unusual. You wouldn't go into it saying, yeah, that's 100% getting popular, because it's kind of a, people got to understand it first.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we first made the music, the reason why we were making it is because we felt like there was a void somewhere in the industry of the type of sound that we wanted to make. We knew that there's a lot of stuff going on in the urban community, a lot of different type of creativity going on, but we felt like there was an avenue that we had for the type of music that we wanted to make. And so it took us a couple years to make this album. As far as that EP went, and it took us a few months to make that, but we were just excited when we released it. We didn't really have expectations on what the reaction would be, but we're very, very pleased with what, the way that it happened. So we're blessed, and we're just excited to be able to be out here and continue to make music and continue to push the needle and, take some chances with the music.
Yeah. A lot of people now, for those who don't know what style you do and everything, some people put you in a similar bracket, like obviously Bryson Tiller, or maybe Black, who's also up and coming right now. What would you say, or how would you describe your own sound to somebody who hasn't ever heard a song from you?
I mean, I think that we're still pretty firmly rooted in R&B. It's still melodic, we're still singing, but there's definitely just a lot of different elements. We have a lot of influences, so there's like some indie influence in there, there's hip-hop. We're just kind of drawn from all over the place. I think we're kind of a reflection of how this generation grew up, because we have access to so much music and we've got exposed to so much different music that, for us it just kind of feels natural to make sure that we incorporate everything to make the songs complete, so, regardless of what it is.
We're going to come back to all those influences that you hear on the album and all that. I just wanted to know from you guys, because you do that, you're making that sound. Why do you think that, hip-hop rooted, trap orientated, heavy drum R&B kind of gets that much recognition in the recent months? Because that's a new sound that's coming up, obviously also with Bryson Tiller, who named his album even Trap Soul and all that, and that's kind of a new sound. Why does that get so much recognition, and why is it so hyped right now?
I think first of all, people love trap, people love R&B. So if you're able to seamlessly integrate the two into a sound like that, I think nobody had really necessarily done it before, or brought it to the light that the way that a Bryson or a Black, somebody like that did. So I applaud them for being able to do something like that, and I thank them I thank Bryson for putting us on that tour, because I still think to this day that was one of the catapults that really gave us a platform to be able to spread our music across the way that we have been able to. So I'm excited for his next album coming too. But
he just announced it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. So we're excited to see what he's got going on there. But I think, just like I said, I think we take elements of that and then mix that with our own interpretation of R&B, our own interpretation of grunge, our own interpretation of rock. You know what I mean? And we just kind of do what we think is tight at the end of the day. You know what I mean? There's really no rules or any parameters of how we kind of do our stuff. We just do what we think is tight, what we want to do. You know what I mean?
Now you have a track on the album which is called, I think it's track 4, it's called Motley Crue, obviously one of the most famous bands of all time. Can you speak a little bit on that? Because it's a very, very unusual and unlikely influence for people, doing that kind of sound that you do.
Yeah, well, I always like to name songs with things that aren't actually not lyrics or whatever. Yeah. So we did that a few times on the album, but I think whenever we were writing the song, we were obviously in LA and both have been in LA for a while, and we were just kind of, I felt like when we made that song, we were kind of embodying just like up and comer, like rebellious type of vibe that we were kind of going through at the time. And like I said, we're right off the Sunset Strip, where you had all those legendary guys back in the day, whether it was like Metallica or Motley Crue or Guns N' Roses and all those different bands who kind of embody that same like rebellious feel. So whenever we did the song, we just looked at it like, we definitely hit a lot of marks that we wanted to hit with that record.
Yeah. Maybe you can elaborate on a couple of just names of artists or bands, especially, maybe first let's keep it hip hop and R&B for the, probably bands and artists that people know, and maybe afterwards go into grunge a little bit. But first, hip hop and R&B rooted artists that you were influenced by when you were younger or even still now?
Oh man, it's easy. Chris Brown and Jeremiah when I was young, who I used to love listening to. Their cadence. Chris is just a legend, obviously. And then Jeremiah for, like I said, his melodies and his cadence. Now I get to work with him nowadays, so it's just to be able to grow up and be able to still work with him is tight. He's still an influence of mine to this day. I used to listen to a lot of Motown, a lot of classic R&B, and Boyz II Men and things like that growing up as well. For me, hip hop, my favorite rapper growing up was Eminem. That was my favorite rapper, like growing up. I thought he was like the best rapper of all time. We used to always listen to everything. I used to rap, lose yourself in the shower. Palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, vomit on the sweater already. Yeah, he used to be, but I had a lot of influences. He has his own as well.
So yeah, obviously hip hop. For me, growing up, like my favorite group was Diplomats. So,
wow.
Yeah, I was a huge Dipset, Cameron, Joel Santana fan.
How did that come?
Well, I mean, first off, it started off from just listening to Jay-Z. I always like East Coast rap, you know what I'm saying? So I was like Fabulous, Jay-Z, obviously Biggie, Nas, all those guys. But, so my introduction was, honestly, that Come Home With Me album from Cameron was when I really got introduced to like all those guys. Obviously, I'd heard who he was, but, and then just their crew, they didn't sound like anybody else, and the production was like A1. Nobody else had their sound. So I was into that. I've always been into like a lot of Houston rap too. Just because I don't know, there's something about the Houston culture that's always kind of appealed to me. And yeah, as far as other influences, man, I always listen to rock. I listened to emo growing up, so like Taking Back Sunday, Silverstein, Census Fail, stuff like that. All the way, that kind of evolved into my love of indie rock, and that's like one of my favorite bands is Vampire Weekend. I'm a big Animal Collective fan too, and they do a lot of like experimental, kind of more psychedelic stuff. So I'm all over the place, man.
Man, that's an amazing set of just bands and influences to name. I don't think anybody in the rap game has so bright, so wide, influences from emo to Diplomats. Yeah, that's incredible, man. Now, if we jump forward to you making the EP and bringing out the EP and everything, it's one name that obviously always comes up when people talk about your beginnings. It's Timbaland, man.
Right.
How was that with Timbaland? Especially you talking about Jay-Z and listening to these guys, and then coming back to working with Timbaland in your early stages. How did that feel? How did that even come about?
Well, I had some people that I had worked with previously. Entourage Management had given me a chance to even come out to LA. And during my time working with them, they had actually hit me up on the phone. They were like, "Oh yeah, Timbaland wants you to come out and work." And I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, okay, all right, I'll believe it." When I called him and told him, he was like, "Okay, all right." Yeah, and then before you knew it, we on the plane on the way there, we pull up to the studio and sit down. And he comes in, and I was just like,
"Damn." Yeah.
Try to keep our cool and everything. But it was amazing just because his guidance and his advice. He's like a big uncle. We call him like Uncle Tim. You know what I mean? Like he's just, you kind of let him do his thing. He didn't really overpower. He just kind of let him do his thing and kind of taught him little things here and there. And it just kind of gave us like a little catapult to really. We knew that we're doing something right. You know what I mean? So if he's over here saying that, obviously we're doing something right. So it gave us that little boost of confidence to really continue doing what we're doing.
Did he tell you maybe in studio or even what especially he liked about your sound that he picked you out, or even in the studio like, yo, I love this part, what you're doing here, keep doing that?
He liked to back it up. That was a song that he. What else?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Well, man, I think just in general he was just a fan. Like he said. One of the things that he said whenever we were first playing music, he used the word disrespectful, like because what we were doing was so unorthodox. He's like, this beat right here is so disrespectful. I think he had a version.
It was his word.
Yeah, he had a version to back it up that didn't even have lyrics to it. He's like, he didn't even put lyrics to it. That's how disrespectful it is. That's how hard it is. And I was just like, oh dang. I was like, so you haven't even actually heard the finished version of the song. So, but yeah, man, he just would just pinpoint what he liked about each song, just the fact that we were doing something different and just doing something melodically, that was just going to be really different. So, I always looked up to him too, because it's like you never knew what to expect from him with production. Like, and he had this own very unique perspective that nobody else could really ever truly replicate. And I think that's what we try to have, is just like our own thing. And I think he saw that within us, so it was dope to make that connection early on and like have his support.
And also he built like complete sound spaces with Aaliyah and then with Missy Elliott and with Jay-Z, and he always tried to build the whole thing, a whole sound.
People that he had chemistry with, you know what I'm saying? And he worked with them and they built full albums together, and which doesn't really happen as much anymore, so I still have a lot of respect for like those days and like that camp and what they're able to do.
Now, when you think about how y'all guys together work in the studio, maybe you can talk a little bit about that. How organic, how fluent is that in the studio? Do you argue a lot? Do you? How's the working process?
Oh yeah, we argue all the time. Every single day. But I think that's just because we both are very opinionated, and we both know what we're talking about. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I think it's a pretty fluid process altogether, because usually I'll come in and I'll sit down, he'll sit down, and he'll either have an idea of already what he wants to do, but most of the time he'll just come in and start playing just like old stuff that influenced him, just playing some rock or playing some emo or whatever, just to kind of just, you didn't want to just come in there and just be like, oh, we got to make this, or we got to do this, or we got to do this. Just kind of whatever influence flows into your brain at that time. That's kind of what he just starts doing with the beat. And then after like an hour or so of him just kind of tinkering around, I'll come and try to do some melodies and things like that, and then we'll kind of just build from there. But there's no particular way that we do it every single time, just whatever naturally happens.
Did he ever come into the studio and show you something you didn't know from, speaking of influences in old music or new music, that you were like, man, this is insane? He got me into
Glass Animals. He definitely got me into Glass Animals. He also made me, even though I knew about Nirvana and I knew a few of their songs, actually he made me delve deeper into the Nevermind album, into the other albums that they had as well. So he basically took the music knowledge that I already had and expanded it, you know what I mean, and made me want to expand my music knowledge. So I thank him for that. Yeah.
Did that happen the other way around as well?
No. He already knew. I didn't show him.
Well, it's just man, I listen to so much music, man, that it's just like, I don't think that I haven't heard everything. There's been some times that he'll put me on to some stuff for sure. Like I wasn't really up on like Kehlani stuff or like a few other artists that have now become a lot bigger than what they were when you showed them to me. But yeah, man, I think the process is just natural, man. There'll be some songs that'll come together just quick, but there'll be some that we'll have to work over, over like a course of a year to work on one song.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's just like, it's just trial and error, but there's no rules to it really. You know what I'm saying? I think that we just both have the vision to see where each song could be or what it's supposed to be, and I think the fact that we do agree on that just makes this the magic between us. You know what I'm saying? So
that's very interesting that you say that the song might take up to a year, because I was just talking to Yachty the other day, Lil Yachty, a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him how long do you take for a song. He was like 10 minutes. It's no joke. Either it's something or I throw it away after 10 minutes. And a lot of people today coming out just work like that, work like machines, and they throw away songs. So what makes you keep on working one song?
Because I think that's the difference. Not necessarily that one person's better than the other or not, but I think that's a common occurrence nowadays in the trap scene or urban scene altogether. It's just like knocking out songs, 10 songs a day. But I don't see myself being able to make the quality music that we make doing that in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could never see myself doing that. And Dante just doesn't work that way at all, period. So that would just never happen. But, some people work differently, but I just think over time we sit and tinker away at things and we figure things out. Oh, we can fix this or we can fix that. We don't keep every single song. Sometimes it doesn't work and we throw it away, but there's never going to be a time where we make a song in 10 minutes. There's just too many ideas that come afterwards. You know what I mean? So it's like...
And the thing is, too, is that, obviously Yachty and a lot of those guys are from the Atlanta scene, and that's their process. That's what they learned. They all came up working in that way. So, and the other thing is, too, is like, I'm definitely a firm believer that, like, especially for hooks and melodies and stuff like that, like usually the first things that you hear are going to be what works. But I think the thing that takes the most time is making the lyrics mean something, and then also doing the production to where you can make like a full 4-minute experience for somebody, as opposed to just like laying down melodies over a beat. Which everybody's got their own way of getting to the treasure or whatever, but our process is just a little bit different.
So maybe the core idea of a song or whatever might take 10 minutes, but it's a lot more after that to get a full song. Yeah. Now, someone else that you went into the studio with is Skrillex, man, who's also an amazing beat maker, amazing producer. How was that experience? What did he give you? What did he give you, and what do you guys think maybe he took away from that session?
Well, the Skrillex thing kind of happened differently because Zoo and Dante are very, very good friends. They've been friends for a while. So Zoo already had the Skrillex song already. You know what I mean? Him and Skrillex had already had their part on it, but he basically hit Dante up. Was like, yo, missing something on this little part here. Can you guys add your little spice, your little flavor? Yeah. So I came in the studio like I usually did at that time, and he was like, yo, we got this Zoo and Skrillex song. And I was like, you know what I mean? I didn't really realize it until after we did our part, and he's like, then it came out and it said Zoo and Skrillex. I was like, wait a minute, Zoo and what? You know what I mean? Then I processed it later, but it kind of just happened really fast. You know what I mean? And they just needed the little extra post hook, and we put our little spice and flavor on it. So Dante actually came up with that whole you want it all, you want it all. I actually didn't think that was gonna work. I was like, I don't know if I like this. I really don't know if I like this, and whatever. But then he sent it in, they're like, they love it. I was like, oh yeah, I love it too, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's kind of how that happened.
Yeah, man.
Now, what was the difference once you put out the EP and you saw it's working, man? People like it, and then working on the album, or probably you were already working on the album and put out the EP. Yeah. And what was the difference, or the biggest difference between working on the album and finalizing the album to working on the EP at a point where nobody really like pressure goes up once you put out an EP and people know you and they have expectations and all that.
Right. I mean, I think the process was honestly the same, man, because the EP, like, reception, all that did was just kind of give us a bit of validation of like, okay, the music that we like, other people also like it, so we should just keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? So that's all we really did with the album, was just like continue to progress and continue to build on what we had already been doing and not stray from that. And I think the main difference though is just like, obviously the term album is like a big statement, but I think we wanted to make a full album. We felt like it's kind of our responsibility to give weight back to the album, to making an album, to making a full project that top to bottom was really, really good. So I think that was more the responsibility that we felt as opposed to like pressure, because at the end of the day, it's like it's fun to make music. Like as long as you're still having fun, like well, what's pressure, you know? So.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have a lot of features also, man. Whenever people listen to your music, they get 100% they, and sometimes maybe here and there is some, you know, Zoo, some Skrillex or some whatever, but it's not like overloaded with features. Is that a purpose decision, or yeah?
100%. I think especially on the first album, keep it 100% self-contained. You know, we write and produce basically 98% of it all ourselves, you know what I mean? Because we just wanted to make sure that we got all of our energy out. We had a lot, you know, to get out onto the plate, you know what I mean? And I think from here on out, it's going to kind of be the same. It's not that we're not going to do any features at all, but I think we feel like the music that we're making is so special and something that we take so much pride in, that it's like we don't want to feel like we have to overcrowd it with features just to put it, you know what I mean? I feel like some people do features because they feel like they have to do that to get their stuff out there more, to get recognized more. But we feel like we have enough confidence in our music that it's just like, you know, whether it's goes #1 or doesn't ever chart, you know, we're happy with what we made. So we don't feel like we have to do that. You know what I mean?
Plus, there's not a lot of artists that I could imagine even coming onto your songs and holding their own against, you know, on your battlefield, kind of, you know, speaking metaphor.
Just a little different, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's funny, I was having that same thought, because, you know, it's intentional too, but whenever we create a song, we definitely want it to feel like you're entering like a world, you know what I'm saying? Like you're entering like a whole like soundscape. So to introduce some other people, like other voices and textures into that soundscape is going to be like something yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm sure eventually it'll happen. But
Are there people that you maybe sometimes in the studio sitting and think like, yo, he could maybe, well, I was listening to your album and I was partially thinking like maybe an Anderson .Paak could fit on it, because he's very versatile and he can just, you know, switch styles and all that. But are there people that you think about and be like, yo, maybe we could look out for him in the future?
Yeah, there's times where like when we're making a song, I'm this person would sound tight on this, you know, I'm always quick to do that because I came from a songwriting world. So it's like as soon as I do that, when I'm making a song, I'm thinking about who I'm placing it for, or who I can give this to, or whatever. So like when we're doing this, I automatically think the same thing. But then he reels me back in. He's like, no, this is our, you know what I'm saying? This is kind of our world. We don't need to be necessarily putting anybody on it yet. But, you know, if their time comes where it's like, okay, this person fits and, you know, they reach out or something mutual happens, and, you know, we're not afraid to do it. And I do my outside stuff too, just as well as he does his outside stuff too. But, you know, when we come together for we're in our own world. You know what I mean? So, you know, whoever happens to fit in that world at the time, maybe it happens. But right now, we're not really thinking about it. So.
Yeah, whenever I come up with somebody I think could be like good on one of our songs, it's always absurd. Remember, I was on the whole tear of like I wanted 8Ball.
Right,
on
8Ball.
I wanted 8Ball and MJG to be on You Right, but so which was.
I wanted Missy Elliott. You know what I mean? But
not realistic.
But we were just like, you know, at the end of the day, let's just put it out.
Yeah,
and see what happens.
Man, Missy would be crazy as well. She's insane.
I love Missy Elliott, but.
Now, a lot of people obviously were wondering, did you get in the studio with Bryson Tiller on that tour? Did you connect on a musical level also? Maybe showed him stuff, he jumped on it. This might happen on the tour?
Well, I mean, we showed each other different music and things like that. I think we were so busy on the tour, we didn't really get a lot of time to sit down in the studio and things like that. But that door is always open. Yeah. You know what I mean? We still communicate and things like that. So it's not like, you know, the door is closed. You know, if it ever happens that way, you know, it'll happen. But I think we were so focused on, you know, it was our first tour, and we were really just trying to get our feet wet and, you know, kind of learn the ropes of how to be on the road. And we were, the funny thing about that is a lot of the songs that ended up being on the album, we were performing them before they got out. You know what I mean? That's another way we were able to tell, like, okay, do people react to this song or whatever? So it really gave us a chance to do that. That's what the tour was for. So we didn't get a lot of time to get in the studio on that one. Yeah, but.
Plus, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was that tour where in Berlin also The Weeknd joined Young Guys instead. Did you have a chance to talk to him or connect with him?
That was the first time we met him.
Yeah, no, we met him backstage. He was really nice too. And I think it was just a really tight moment just to see like the crowd in Berlin react to The Weeknd just coming out of nowhere. So it was dope.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Now, looking into the future, now you got the album out, you got the first, you know, people jumping on the They bandwagon, getting to know y'all guys. Hopefully it gets a lot bigger. And if you look into the future, let's say just 5 years from now, what are your expectations or what are your plans, better to say plans, from now on?
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, plans is better than expectations because you put expectations on things and it starts to dampen your spirit when it doesn't go the way you want it to. But obviously the plans are just to continue to grow, spread the new religion, and continue to grow the Wolfpack. Continue to put out quality music. A couple more albums maybe, and just improve on ourselves. You know what I mean, and hopefully be able to influence other people to take chances and take risks with the music and not be so safe and not feel like you got to do what everybody else is doing. That's the entire thing about the new religion. You know what I mean? Is to take chances, be different, and stop feeling like you got to follow the path that everybody else already followed. You know what I mean? There's no way to be groundbreaking. These people that everybody looks up to, like a Timbaland or like somebody else, they all took chances. They had to do something different for them to have the status that they did. A Kanye took a lot of chances, you know what I mean? So that's the kind of way that we look at ourselves. We want to make sure that we're trailblazers and we influence everybody to take a chance on stuff. So.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. I'm looking forward. Exciting times ahead. Exciting album also. You should check it out if you haven't. New Religion, the album and the EP also. And if you have a chance, maybe just catch these guys on their tour in Germany or whenever they come back. Actually, you will come back in August for Hype Festival, right?
Hype Festival. We will be there. Yes, we will.
Yeah. Hype Festival in Cologne. So if you have a chance, just catch these guys, man. Thank you for your time.
Thank you,
amazing.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Have fun on stage in Cologne tonight. See you in August then. Peace.